From a recruiter side, from a hiring manager side, I said this a lot, which is all we can do is take our experience of the interview or any of the behavior in that process and multiply it by 1,000, believing that that's how that person's going to be forever. So I didn't pick you because this person was obviously so much better. You were not. I'm really sorry. Hope you get another job. 90% of feedback given to rejected candidates is not really what the recruiter wanted to say.
Dzień dobry. Witam Was ponownie w kolejny poniedziałek w podcaście Na Etacie. Dzisiejszy odcinek będzie całkowicie inny niż wszystkie inne nasze podcasty, ponieważ zaraz będziemy zobligowani do zmieniania języka na język angielski, ponieważ naszym gościem dzisiaj jest Mick.
Dzień dobry, dziękuję bardzo.
Tak, dla wprowadzenia. Mick mieszka w Polsce już wiele, wiele lat, ale udaje, że nie mówi po polsku, chociaż my słyszeliśmy kilka razy i naszym zdaniem jest dużo lepiej niż Mick zakłada. Ale no dla komfortu rozmowy przeprowadzimy ją po angielsku, tak żebyśmy mieli jak najlepsze szanse po prostu się porozumieć.
So at the beginning, Mick, can you say something about yourself?
Yes.
Who are you and why are you there?
Why am I here? Not because I forced you today, because we both work at Team Smart Jobs, which is great. But no, I'm very happy to be here because I also have a podcast which is called Who I Hire, which is the yin to your yang, hopefully, I think, which is where I talk to hiring managers about the pains of recruitment and things like that. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I think I'm going to hopefully stand for what the hiring managers and companies are saying right now about recruitment. And yeah, thank you so much for switching to English. I could speak in Polish, but it wouldn't be helpful for anybody. So for what we lack in language, hopefully we'll make up for some interesting conversation today.
Yes, exactly.
For sure. Like the main goal of our conversation, I think I can suppose of that, will be candidates think that the recruiters are the problem of the recruitment process, and the recruiters are thinking that the candidates are the problem of the process. So I really want us to, at the end of the conversation, that have the answer to that.
Yeah, we know the answer. The problem is the candidates. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay, thank you very much for listening.
That was it.
Don't leave. Don't leave. No. I agree. I think the thing that we're looking at right now is that both sides find recruitment difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is such a rare thing because it's something that isn't going away. We all need to find jobs. We all need to find employees. We're not going to stop doing this anytime soon, regardless to maybe what the changes in AI and things like that, those kind of topics. But yeah, we need to find a way to make this better. So I'm interested to find out today, what do we think the problems are from both sides? Because both sides in pain right now a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Like also there's the part that you have your interviews with hiring managers, but in general, you are definitely more often in the role of a hiring manager, for example, in our company.
Yes.
And we, of course, have the perspective of our guests, but also we have not been hiring managers for specific roles. We have the experience of the candidates that is pretty fresh because we started a few months ago, so we know how the market really is right now. So I think it would be super interesting, to clash that information between us and see what do we really think about each other.
Yeah, and honestly, apart from my age, I still remember being a candidate. I'm still an employee to this day. I do empathize, but I'm super interested where the conversation will go because luckily I've had a number of episodes now with hiring managers from also big companies, small companies, different industries. There are some things that are common and some things that are very unique. So but the ultimate goal is still to make recruitment better for everybody, right? And obviously to be right. But
can I have a question about your podcast as well?
Absolutely.
Because as you said, there were different hiring managers from different companies, etc. Have you heard an opinion from a hiring manager that you were like, oh, that's bullshit, I don't agree with that?
That's a good question. Don't get me wrong. At first, I was a little bit worried because I have a few episodes where people are kind of like. The funny thing is a number of hiring managers I've interviewed are quite empathetic to candidates. Okay. Mm-hmm. They know that the recruitment process is challenging. They said that one of the questions I always ask is like, how comfortable are you with that hiring manager, that candidates can reach out to you directly, write you on LinkedIn? And a couple like, oh yeah, anybody can write me. And I do believe them, but I think that they don't want it in practice. And the other thing as well is that hiring managers still want to keep this concept that everything is truly fair. And I know they have a goal of that. But a lot of conversations start with like, yeah, because when we interview, we do this. And I was like, yeah, but what are you going to do when you have 500 applications? What about the first step? Oh, yeah, we are dealing with that. Yeah. So they tend to, a lot of conversations start at the part where it's human and not where it's less human, let's say. I think that's where it's uncomfortable.
Also say that their experience, it's more comes later on in the process, because usually like when the role gets 500 people applying for it, the recruiter is the first one who makes the selection, etc. But it's interesting for me because we also like talked with our guests that, there is this view where we know how things should work, but it's all like in a perfect scenario. And we can be all 100% sure that there are only like a few companies out there that can really make it honest and like equal for everyone.
Yeah.
So there's also like that part of hiring managers talking about their imagination of how work works, and the other part is how they actually do it in real life, because we know it's all changes.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the other things I ask hiring managers as well, which is, what do you do if you get 30 perfect candidates going through the process? Are you going to have 30 interviews? Because I think one of the other things as well is that by default, what we want as hiring managers is each process is tailor-made to narrow the number of people, because we don't have infinite resources. Yeah. So another thing as well is like, I think it's not about the fact that I don't think hiring managers, let's say, are misleading us, but I think, like you said, it's a big difference between ideal scenario and real world. Yeah. So the other one is like, yeah, I think any candidate that I reject, if they want to have a conversation with me, they can. It's impossible.
Yeah.
We don't have the resources. And if, this is a really interesting topic from the other side as well, where it's like, we are now getting to a stage where we are rejecting sometimes hundreds of people to get to a recruitment. What do we owe them? What do we owe the people that we are rejected? So yeah, I agree. Like again, in most cases, it's natural that we are trying to be as human as possible. But definitely there are some gaps in some stories of how do we handle that specific process. Yeah.
Okay.
I have I think, first hard question. And
okay. Well, no, because Dominica just gave me a very hard question. But yeah.
I'm interested, like, do you ask this question to the hiring managers or you have your own knowledge about these topics? Like, where's the issue in the recruitment phase when somebody came after 5-6 recruitment processes, 6 rounds of processes, and they're ghosted after the 6th one? And what the hiring managers are telling you about it, if you ask about it?
No, I mean, I mean, for sure, the people that I'm interviewing sadly might just fall above that line of they are not ghosting per se. So I'm really actually searching for maybe a little bit more rough and ready guests that would be open to it. But I think it's one of the big reasons for this is responsibility. I think in a number of companies, even with the people I've interviewed, when someone is getting rejected, they tend to believe that it's gone back to HR or back to the recruiter to take care of the end process. They only want to move forward.
Okay.
And I think that's the biggest element of it. And they haven't had that agreement with the recruiter, and they're just like, if there's blowback in the end, I will blame the recruiter, I'll blame the HR person. But the other big thing now, which is really important, which is there's a big discussion about the fact of which candidates deserve feedback. Yeah. So in your case of like few stages, an interview, second interview, yeah, I think it's kind of clear cut. Yeah. But there are a number of candidates on the market right now that are applying that they don't know what they're applying for, and
sure.
do they agree? But So I think that I don't have the clear answer for why ghosting happens at that level. I think everyone I've talked to would agree that it shouldn't. So it's not that stage yet. But my guesses would be the sad fact as well, which is ask yourself in the organizations who's caring if it happens or not. The hard part, if you look at big organizations, if you as a recruiter or you're a hiring manager, I didn't do my task yesterday because I was giving feedback to those 10 candidates who didn't get applied, no one would be like, okay, but why didn't you do the task? Like priorities.
Yeah.
Because also this perception, and this will be an interesting one back in later, which is there's also a perception that there's no such way of doing a good rejection, a good feedback. Everyone will be annoyed, no matter how much time I put into it. They will be frustrated.
Annoyed, yes, but like I think from our conversation with our guests, they're always like it's easier to like get this information. Like if you got the reason why and feedback, etc., why they chose someone else, it was always easier for them to like go forward and pick other job, etc.
Okay.
Maybe like the part you are touching creates a new opportunity in HR to have a person who's dedicated to closing the recruitment processes, so that they can have in their daily tasks to write the feedback, to care about the people that are rejected, because we still need to remember that candidates are also the clients. So.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's really important how you treat them, because they can also give you a bad advertisement online. So maybe there's an opportunity to like creating, maybe in like some cool companies, I'm talking, that have a lot of different recruitment processes and have to reject a lot of people daily. Maybe there is a place for someone who will take care of them after the process, after they dropped out of the process, so that they don't feel left with nothing.
There is a. I had a really good conversation with one of my guests who said that candidates claim that they want honest feedback, but they don't really. And it connected to me that it's not so simple.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's what I mean is that I think that, first of all, I think I can answer is human right. You got it, you didn't get it. Like, yes, no. But I do agree that the next level, and I struggle with this myself, giving feedback to candidates, is I'm almost sure that I'm going to make a big statement. 90% of feedback given to rejected candidates is not really what the recruiter wanted to say. It's what they thought was the right thing to say.
I agree.
Yeah?
Yes, I would agree with
So
that.
the question is, when candidates want feedback and want to be rejected, what do they actually want?
I believe like there is a still big part that needs to be discovered of that. So maybe there is a place for people that also have background in psychology to study that more, to actually get more info about what is it that people really want. But from our perspective, like with people we talk to, we can 100% say that they want to know the truth.
Okay.
I know
It can be a bubble.
it can be only the people we talk to, but in general, you don't want to hear some stories that really don't match the reality.
Because like my perspective, and I think that like in the talks I got, is that basically rejections, feedback, should have the single goal of helping that person with whatever their next goal is. So if they're only,
Exactly.
we should give them feedback that helps them get the job. It's still not the real feedback of why they didn't get that job, because sometimes it can be like, I really just didn't like their personality. They didn't have any good charisma for that role, etc. But I know that telling them that is not going to motivate them to get better. It's going to make them feel worse.
Yeah, but it's also, a circle back to the idea of, is it fair?
And this is why I think, in an ideal world, I'm already thinking about the fact that in the beginning, it would be great if this was a question even on the application form. What do you want at the end of this process if you're not going to get hired? What do you really want? Because I do agree with the fact that, and I can give you a counter question if I can about, because I like this first topic of like rejections and feedback because it is a pain, right? I ask my guests, what's the best way a candidate can act after being rejected for them as hiring managers? Why? Because now, me personally, I've received such aggressive feedback after rejecting a candidate in the nicest way I possibly could, where I got messages like, "Oh, good luck to you! What a terrible decision! You're gonna suck!" And why should anyone take this job? And really emotional reaction to it, and also. I'm sure most people don't reply at all to the reaction, to the rejection. And why, like, if we are open to all feedback and we want it to happen, what can be the reason, or how do you feel about the fact that when candidates show their frustration to the company who rejected them?
I would say that, it's a different perspective for them. Because probably when you are hiring someone, you have a lot of people to choose from. In general, there are people that are applying. You have like the different people to choose from, and for them, it's usually the opposite. That they applied for many roles, and they only got invited to round 2 for like 2 of them. So I would say that the rejection, it's definitely harder on their souls. For example, if you are in the situation that you are a hiring manager, you have your job, you're fat, bills are paid, and you're just picking the best one. And when they are in their position that they are looking for a job, they, running on empty on everything, and they get that, "Oh, you were really nice, but we chose someone different." They're like, "Oh, like, what the hell,
I think there's still the percentage of that, it feels generic. It's most of the situations. Like, if I am the candidate and I get the response with feedback, "Oh, we rejected you because of that. We don't, like, you're worse than the other candidate in this, that, etc." For me, it's like giving me the feedback, all right, so I need to improve my XYZ. But if I get, "Oh, sorry, it's nice to hearing you, and now we chose someone else," I feel that generic. I feel like AI wrote that prompt, etc.
Like, even, for example, if it's about, let's say, someone has better experience, then maybe, I don't think it's enough of a message. Maybe you can somehow tell what is the experience in which field, so the people know what to look for in the future. Or if they did a specific, I don't know, they have a specific skills that made them stand out, to actually have the value. Because if you say, "Oh, there was someone better," then it's like...
So, imagine this. Yeah, I agree with. I understand what you're saying, and I have empathy for it. But imagine that somebody's job is to give bad news to 50 people a day that they reject. Imagine that, like, when you get rejected as a candidate, it's painful.
Yeah.
That pain fades, and you hopefully find a role eventually, and life moves on. For a recruiter or a hiring manager on a high volume, you have to give that bad news to all. Like, you can only give good news to one person. You're limited. You can only say congratulations to one person, and you have to say to 20 people, 30 people, "I'm really sorry you didn't get a job." It's the part that I think, I'm not asking candidates to be understanding of it, but there's definitely this, I think, this perception that the company's in a great position. You've got all these people that want to work for you, and you just get to sit there. It's not so simple. You have to, like, giving bad news to people sucks.
I believe,
like, it sucks. Yeah.
I also, I believe, mentioned it in our podcast with Anya, that there is this global feeling, I would call it, that in general recruiters are heartless.
And again, I do understand, but it's heartless because, again, like, we have to tell people sorry you didn't get the job. And if we are doing this in the way that we want to, we're going to try it. We're going to take 10, 15 minutes every time, not to tell because telling people the raw truth would be so much easier.
Yeah.
I didn't pick you because this person was obviously so much better. You were not. I'm really sorry. Hope you get another job. It takes us longer to package it in a way that we can try to actually not hurt that person's feelings. Yeah. Everyone, we've all gone through breakups with partners. These are not nice experiences. So I think the biggest misconception is that all the power sits on one side. Now, that doesn't mean that out there aren't companies that act like that, but it certainly doesn't mean that all companies act like that. Yeah. So there are some companies out there trying to do good and paying for the sins of those that don't. Yeah. So like that's why I'm saying, like, I understand, like, for me, when that candidate got very angry with me, and I was like, that's probably because it was rejection number 5, not because of this one experience. However, if we're saying to companies, hey, listen, candidates can be customers. You don't know what's coming in the future. The same message is for candidates. Like, why would you burn that bridge? I remember that person.
Yeah.
And I will remember that person. And I remember the people who unfairly react, etc. And what I mean is that we have to be careful. I think we have to be careful with the emotional side of this experience. And as I said, I can only tell you that from a recruitment standpoint, it's also emotionally draining to recruit. Not because of the fact that sometimes I like recruiting. It's new people to the company. But you're already thinking when you open that job, like, I have to give 10, 20 people the worst news they will get that day, that week, whatever. And I even have it like, I've got a couple of friends that have said, oh, Mick, I saw you're hiring. I would be great. And I'm like, no, I can't. I'm like, my friends know that they're not allowed to apply for jobs at my company because I'm not going through it with friendship, because it is such an emotional, unusual experience that I'm sure that friendships could be destroyed by one rejection.
In general, I agree that, the candidates should really be careful with their reaction, because, it can also be an important information about them, but we still, I believe, need to remember that in general, inward, the issue with being rejected is usually like the most painful. And I believe, I'm not sure, but from my experience, from the people I know, I think that it's still like the one that is the hardest. So that, if you go to therapy, it's usually that one subject that comes back, that the rejection, issue is there, that people are not okay with being rejected. So I would say that it's, not only in the recruitment processes, but in general, we as people should definitely work in our rejection reactions and how we deal with those, because it's not the end of the world. And usually, it happens. And with time, you get the understanding, okay, my life did not end it. I'm fine. But in that specific moment when it happens, usually we all get spiraling into this, oh my gosh, my life's going to end. What I'm going to do now, etc., etc. So I think all of us should work on that reactions,
Now, I have a hard question.
Okay.
Do candidates know that they are now making this, there's more chance that process is going to get worse than better? And do they know that they are doing that right now? And the reason why is because candidates are applying for more jobs.
Yes.
They are not all candidates, for the record, but we know that basically, just for the statistics, that on average, number of applications per job has tripled in the last 3 years. So where you were getting 50 candidates, you get 150. Where you're getting 100, and in some cases, thousands of candidates. So we're putting the system under. We want the system to be better for us, but we're also putting it under more pressure. This is a challenge. This is a challenge, and I'm wondering if your candidates have experienced it. If you, what are your thoughts when it's not that it's all bad? Yeah, some people find jobs doing it that way, but it's we can't say to companies, okay, you've got 3 times as many applicants, so have 3 times as many recruiters now to deal with them, because companies will not triple the money they spend on recruitment to get the same outcome, which is 1, 2, 3 recruitments, right?
I think it's a process. Like people who are starting on their journey on the job market, like they're sending hundreds of CVs just to land somewhere. And I think with the experience of recruitment and recruitment process, you learn that it's not the best way. Like, I think our guests, in many points, they said, like, they're sent 5, 6 CVs and they got a job. They have a knowledge that they know what they want to do. Like Basha, like she reversed the interviews. Like she asked the recruiter, what you can give to me to pick your job. She wasn't like that. Okay, I take it. Like, no money. Okay, I take it. No,
sure.
She asked what they can give to her. So I think it comes with the experience, with amount of interviews, etc.
Yeah, I would say it's a global problem as well, because I have seen a lot of these commercials of like, have AI apply for you to all the jobs, etc. And I think it's horrible, but I believe still when it comes to education of how the process should work, we still have bigger impact on the recruiters than the candidates. You know, that getting out there the knowledge on how the process should look to the recruiters, hiring managers, it's easier rather than giving it to all the candidates, because candidates are everywhere and, you know, they have their own bubbles in their bubbles. So it's really, I would say, harder to get the message out there, to let them know, hey, what you are doing is actually making the processes worse.
And I think it still needs to be repaired, like before, like in the high school, because our school system still teaches the children, the people, like, okay, you go to the high school, then you go to the university, and then you have a job. And still it's the mindset of our education system. And they don't teach you like how to create your CV, how to like send your CV, like to prepare it to the certain role.
And to be honest, I mean, I also know that no one wants to be first. Because what I mean is, it will when it's a trend, the first people that go, okay, I'm not going to apply for 100 jobs, they might be the people that lose to change it. And I empathize. Again, I think it's, from my perspective, it's the fact that, first of all, like, we are in the industry, so we think about recruitment as a collective thing.
Yeah.
Like it's an organism. But it's not. It's an individual person and an individual company. And I'm seeing this from both sides. And I have another topic in a second, which I will ask you about, but ultimately, I'm looking at this, and candidates seem to want recruitment as a whole to get better. They're not thinking about it one by one. Recruiters want candidates as a whole to change their behavior, but every single person is different. Yeah. And it's, but right now, I think candidates are being either a little bit miseducated or misguided into what will solve what gives them a better chance of getting hired, because someone is telling them that it's volume, and the only true narrative that's been on every single guest of my show is preparation and intent. What makes a candidate stand out for you? They are prepared. They told me why they want to work at this specific company, because now it's becoming rarer and rarer, because I've even experienced myself that I mean, one thing I'll give candidates these days is they're very honest. When I said, what made you apply for this job? And they were like, I don't remember. And I was like, you're not supposed to say that. Like, you know, like, wow. But it's the truth, yeah? It's becoming that way.
Can I ask you a question also?
Absolutely.
Because don't you think that part of the solution to this mass application system candidates are doing right now, it's telling the salaries ranges before applying? Because people so many times, I believe, apply just to know things. Because for example, if I see 20 job offers that in general I like, I would love to pick like best 3. But if I'm not seeing the info what I'm gonna get, that makes me apply for more to check where the offer is the best, you know?
I get the logic. I don't think it's the problem. I do think every job should have a salary, but I don't think it's one of the causes for mass application.
I think it can be a part of a solution, but have you asked hiring managers about it? If they are showing the salary ranges or not, and if no, why is that?
No.
Okay.
No, but I have been involved in a couple of recruitments, but I think it's the nice answer, to be honest, where they haven't shown the salary range because they don't want to, like, with the number of positions, salary is still ROI. It's still like, how much will I make from this person? So they don't know if they want to spend 20K or 30K or 10K or 5K, because that each candidate might show them the way. Yeah. So don't be wrong. I mean, don't be wrong. The salary ranges are going to become law probably very, very soon and everywhere. And it's hard for me to think that this is the reason we have the mass application, because I think that people are not reading. It's so easy to apply. But the other thing as well is where I've had, even in my roles, but I know this has happened in other companies, where I will have a salary range. And then after the interview, the candidate will say, right, okay, so I want this number and it's above the range. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's in the job description. But I wasn't planning to go down to that level, but I thought after we talked, I'd convince you. So I think it works on both sides.
Yeah.
I think this whole, I can game the system from both sides is making a big mess.
Yeah, I believe it's like the issue of it all. It's not being fair. That, companies are not fair, are not sharing all the details in the first job offer. You sometimes need to go like through a few phases to get the info about working model or whatever. And it also goes for candidates that they have stuff in the back of their mind, but they keeping them to themselves till the end of the process to share them with the companies and the recruiters. But I also understand them, both of the sides, because it gives you better opportunity to like get there. Because there is, and we have to be honest, there is a good percent of chance that if you get to that point and then you have just like, oh, but I blah, 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 you get a much higher possibility of getting hired rather than saying it in the beginning.
I mean, yes, but it goes counteractive a little bit to what you said before, which is if we show the salary ranges, people will only apply for the ranges that apply to them. I think that's not true. I think you show the salary ranges and certain characters see that as like, okay. And then there's a bunch of other people that go, oh, challenge. I'm going to apply for them anyway, and I'm going to try to convince them that they need to pay more money.
Yeah, I would say, that it's still, it's nice to talk about those things, but in the end of the day, you just sit there and discuss things, and you think like, okay, so the real problem are specific characters that live in both worlds.
It's still an individual and an individual.
Yeah,
and we are looking for trends.
That each candidate is different, each company is different. And I would say that the word is hard for the honest ones and for the honest candidates and empathic
recruiters.
Because there is still someone out there who is going to outsmart them just because of the character they have.
So, is your advice to candidates that doing it the right way means you have more chance to lose? And be honest. It's okay. It's okay.
I would say that it all depends of how you feel about it. If you feel good about hacking the system and outsmarting it, go for it. But be sure that you're okay with it, because I know from my side, I know that I would feel bad about it And for me it will be some weight on my shoulders that I did something in a not really clear way, but I know that there are people that are okay with that and they use it. So I would say, it's how do you will feel about it in like a year from now? Or will you forget completely about that you did it? Or will you still have, reminders someday that, oh, okay, I got what I wanted, but the way I got it was not really nice.
Like I saw one day under one of our posts on Instagram, I suppose, about the ranges in the job descriptions. And there were some discussion between 2 or 3 people in the comments, because one man said that he hates where there are ranges in the offer.
Oh.
Yes, because as Mick said, like he know like how much he wants to earn, and if the ranges are in the description, he know he can earn the max of amount of the range. But if there's not, he can just tell, I want to earn this amount of money and fight for that.
I still think that when it comes, to discussing the processes, I would divide candidates in 2 large groups. There are the ones that, looking for a job from a comfortable place, that they already have a job and they're just looking for something better. That might be the case of the person. And there is the other part that are candidates that are not having any income right now and they're really fighting for their life out there.
Yeah, I mean, this is why this conversation is. I will always I think we always have to be careful with the ultimatums or the lines we draw, right? Because when we look at recruitment processes overall, they are very, very messy and overcomplicated. And I think it's super easy to simplify everything and say, oh, let's just do it this way.
Yeah.
But we know that sadly, this is connected to one of the most stressful elements of human existence, which is paying your bills, looking after your family, having clothes on your back, etc. Right? So it's yes, we have this overcomplicated, over-emotional process, which is recruitment, and there's a reason why.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is why this is why I think sometimes we feel out of sync. We think oh well, the worse off is for the candidate, because that if not hiring someone is not going to have the same personal effect on the company that's hiring. And yes, it's true, but it's not painless either. It's not painless. And I think one of the biggest things I've noticed, and I'm talking to my guest a lot about, which is sadly, lots of candidates, not all, lots of candidates see getting the job offer and getting recruited as the finish line, goal achieved. For the company, it's started. And I think the feedback that again, normally the consensus was that candidates who don't see getting the job offer as the finish line are the ones that are most successful afterwards. Because yes, I understand the hardship of bills to pay, uncomfortable job, I need to get out of this role right now, I can't sleep. I totally get all that stuff. But getting into a job to be fired or let go after 3 months or 6 months is not a win. It's only going to cause, you're only delaying the pain, right? But and I said this, the hard part about recruitment is we are talking, and I made a funny analogy lately that my wife was watching Love is Blind. And I literally say my wife was watching because I was like, this is terrible TV show. What are we doing as human society, right? And I was watching with one eye eventually. And then I got pulled in a little bit and I was like, whoa. And then I was like, I look at this show and I think it's ridiculous, but entertaining. And I'm like, still, it's recruitment for me.
Yeah.
Because we are sending a piece of paper, so we don't know anybody. Then we think that we'll meet them for 1 hour, and then we have to make a decision. Do we want to work together for potentially 10 years? And all we have, from a recruiter side, from a hiring manager side, I said this a lot, which is all we can do is take our experience of the interview or any of the behavior in that process and multiply it by 1,000, believing that that's how that person's going to be forever. So when we've got candidates who come in and go like, oh, I'm a little bit tired today, or oh, I'm sorry, I didn't check the company website before I came on the interview. This is not us being horrible people. We only have the choice of believing that's how it's going to be in the future. Because why would we think anything else? Yeah, I want to believe in people. I trust people. I like people. But I can't be like, probably they had a bad day, let's hire them. I can't do that. Yeah. So we have this problem that on the same way, on the flip side, to bring that full circle, is I actually think it's extremely easy to game a recruitment process. I think that 50% of the population can fake their way through a recruitment process. Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
You can do the research, you can tell them what you wanted to hear, you can find out what their favorite sports team
but
is.
But also, for the company as well, because they also have, this short period of time to show how things are there. So it's easy to be like, oh, we are this, we are that, here we are all cool, we play FIFA, tararara.
Yeah.
And then you get there thinking like, oh my God, that's great company, the best one I have ever found. And you get there and that is boom. You also get hit by the reality of how the company works. So it also is for both sides that
and
company...
also you don't work with the recruiter.
Exactly.
Usually,
you're seeing a tiny window into the world,
But the recruiter is
not the person
in their own department, and you are going to the team that you don't know, and you don't have the feeling on the recruitment phase. And now, that's the people I'm going to work 8-hour day with.
Yeah.
So, to kind of like, if we take off like the ghosting and the feedback off the table, from what you know right now, when you're on it, what's the one thing candidates want to change in the recruitment process? What's the one improvement or the one thing that they would like to be different? If we take away feedbacking and ghosting out of the negative side of that side, what's the one thing, what would be their message or your message to a hiring manager today that from what we know, this is what should change?
That's a hard one. Because I would say that for each person it's something different, In general, I would say that we want transparency. But not only in what you said, the feedback and not ghosting, but like just tell us the truth. If your company, it's, I don't know, dynamic in the way that it's chaotic, everything changes every hour and you don't get answers from anyone in the office, let us know that. Because then, of course, like we can game our way to the company, but we need also like to know the truth, because you can be like, oh, we are perfect for the environment, but in your head, the environment is something different than what we see. So there's also this conflict that if candidates have no idea of what's going on, truly what's going on, that's when I think they start to bend themselves maybe to fit. But then you try to fit something that is also not true.
Okay.
I don't know if you get me, but I would say be honest. Just be honest. If it is that type of role that you have to be 24/7 available, tell the person that.
I feel like this meme now, like the Spider-Man meme. Because I'm like, I agree. Do you think candidates would be willing to do the same in exchange? Because candidates are also not they're presenting the best version of them in the recruitment process. And while I understand what you are saying, or maybe I can ask this in a different way, because probably the only true way a company can give a better real life view of what a job looks like is to ask the candidate for more time. And what I mean by that is like, because the first thing when you said it, I was like, okay, so I could set up another stage of recruitment where you meet the 3 people that you're going to work with. And I could set up another stage where you come and spend 2 hours sat in the office, hanging out, having coffee. But there's also this trend right now that recruitment processes are already asking for too much. I mean, the pushback that I'm seeing on things like doing tasks or recording videos and stuff like this. So one of the true ways to give transparency is to probably ask for a little bit more, and that's not the funny thing is, in general, I see that this is and I wondered this is the blocker we're going to meet today on this episode, whereas the trend from hiring managers is basically they are asking candidates to give more. They're not more time, they're asking for more commitment, more impact, more research. So I see that recruiters are like, you're going to have to show us more, and I think candidates are like, I'm not giving you any more. You already have enough. You're already taking too much from me. You're asking for this. You're asking for that. And again, we hit another one of those impasses. Who's going to blink first? Who's going to give in first? Yeah. And I think one of the, maybe if we cannot end, like, I don't want everyone watching to have just doom and gloom, because I'm also thinking one of the only advices I have for candidates is just, I don't even care if candidates apply for 100 jobs, but pick the 100 jobs. Pick the companies. Pick the companies. This is the one thing that
don't let those AI things do it for you. Like, do it yourself. Then at least you will know something.
Okay, give your AI. I would love to work in 100 companies like this. Yeah, I really love companies like Tesla, Google, whatever. Like, and I think like have a short list and then use the tools. I wish we didn't have the tools, to be honest. I think it's messing things up. But I think the hard part is, it's, again, I always use the relations to like dating. Yeah, it's like, imagine like you're like, oh yeah, I really want to have a good, kind-hearted person, and then you start dating someone that just got out of prison for 25 years. Yeah, what do you expect the outcome to be? But you know, have a like a goal.
Say that,
yeah,
you candidates to be more engaged, and I would say that the issue for candidates is not in general the recruitment process. I wouldn't say that it would be an issue for someone to, for example, meet with their teammates, possible teammates. Because I would say that for a lot of candidates, it can be interesting to really get to know those people and see how they are.
Yes,
but
the process will be longer.
Yeah, but I would say that the issue, it's not with the length of the process. I think the issue is with the length of not knowing what's going on in the process. You know that
I know what you mean.
It's not about the process; it's on the like gaps between the processes.
It's like, you know, that if I have my first interview, and for example, then there is the second round where it's meet the possible teammates. After the first interview, please give me the feedback the next day and schedule the next call in like 3 days. But if the time between the interview 1 and interview 2, it's 2 or 3 weeks, then it becomes a problem, I would say.
Okay, yeah, I agree. And I think that time is normally the enemy in most cases. If a hiring manager asked you now, like, how much time, if I email a candidate saying like, you're moving to the next stage, or I have a question for you, how much time should I give that candidate before I reject them for being slow? So, because, you know, slowness comes from both sides as well. Yeah, I think it does. And I do agree that it's disproportional. This is not 50-50 in this case, but I realized on a number of my last recruitments, even for Trafford, my biggest rejection phase is at the task. And I will invite 20 people for a task, 7 will do it, and 13 will just ghost me. They don't reply at all. And I'm wondering if, again, can we expect that speed from both sides?
Yes, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
I would definitely agree with that. That, you know, there is a limit to everything, and candidates also should respond. I don't know, with like 2 business days or something.
Like it should be like pinched out. Like you have X days to send us the task, or you have X days to respond for our proposition to job offer. Like it should
or
be
like
clear,
even
black and white.
Even like you have two days to pick, like from my calendar to pick the date you want to know, because
And if not, you reject it.
yeah.
Because I had a guest on my podcast that said that basically if you are going to be open to work, be open to work. And it sounds like, I was like, oh yeah, that has a deep meaning, that a lot of people are like, I'm open to work, but then they don't reply. They don't like when recruiters write to them. They are like, you have to commit if you want to find a role.
I would say
Yeah.
that, it also verifies who is really there because wants the job and needs the job and really has, the energy to put in the job, and who just applied of boredom just because they like the idea of changing the job and not really have the willpower to do it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, I think it's this chicken and egg scenario that we end up with constantly, which is who's going to blink first. And I think actually it kind of maybe can lead into a question for me, because I'm looking also now, and I think sometimes candidates don't realize that there's no two recruitment processes that are identical.
Exactly.
And again, we're talking about this a lot. And I struggle a lot with this, which is my approach to recruitment and recruitment processes. First person over the line wins. So what that basically means is I have my expectations of candidates and so on. And as soon as I have a candidate that's all the things I want, I'm like making the job offer. And if they apply, it's done. But then there are other recruitment processes where what companies will do is say, okay, I've got 10 people at the interview stage. I'm going to interview all 10 and then make a decision at the end. Which do you think candidates prefer? Because I'm still trying to answer this question in my own, because what I mean by that, my way, the pro is it's fast.
Yeah.
And I'm focused on individuals and not comparison. I don't need comparison to feel better about my decision. The big negative of that, and I have this in real life, where I have to call someone who's got an interview tomorrow and say, actually, you don't have an interview tomorrow anymore because I just hired that person. And they will be pissed. But they wouldn't be pissed if it was the other way around and they were the person, right? But on the other hand, I wonder if from time to time there was a good candidate, a better candidate. Like what process do you think candidates prefer? What way would they prefer? Everybody step by step, or I was first, I'm reacting?
Like it depends of how much candidates are in the process, in my opinion. Because if it's like 3-4 people in the process, okay, we can talk with everyone. But if it's like 15-20, it's like the first one, okay, he got in his interview on the 1st of August, and he's waiting to the end of August because the last one has his interview on the 30th of August. So he's waiting 30 days to get an answer, and he doesn't have any. He's not sure that is the answer good for him or bad.
Yeah, I would say that it's also like, how do you say, you can do it that way, on that way, you pick the one way, and I would say that it takes a lot of courage from the hiring manager to do that, because it's also a bet that you are willing to take.
Yeah.
So I would say that for candidates, it's the same, because each way, for example, if you get rejected in your way, you are like, oh shit, I just could have found it earlier, and that would be me, probably. But also, they're in the other way around. They will be like, okay, so I waited 3 months for them to collect hundreds of people, and they are there picking the best, like in a pigeon, They are picking the best one, the prettiest, the nicest, like the perfect one. That it's also not fair. One, it's not fair because of the time management, and with the other one, it's not fair because you pick like your favorite one, and a lot of times depending not only on the skill set but also on your personal preferences.
But it's an interesting thing you said about not being fair, because it would be super fair to the last person in the queue, because they would get the time.
Exactly.
So what I mean is, would you be okay with not getting a job because you were just slow or last? Not even slow, but you applied at the end. would you be okay with that? Like, sorry, you rejected because that person just applied before you.
I would say that, by this time around, we all should already learn that word is not fair.
Ooh, we are going wide topic now.
So I would say that, in this time right now, it's really, we all know how the world works, and being angry at the recruiter, at the hiring manager, for me, it's just a crazy idea. Because what you matter about, that this is how life works. They always would pick, the best one or the faster one.
This is that someone has to win. And when you have winners, you have losers.
Exactly.
Right?
That's how the sport works also. If you have people running, the fastest one wins. And if you are started later because of something, really the issue is of what is the reason why you applied later. And
because if you're actively looking for a job, you're going to the job boards every day. Like, to be honest, when I was looking for a job, I was every day on every job board that I know and look for a job. Something new appears, sorted by the newest, and look for new jobs. So when I see something posted yesterday, I apply.
So you felt like you had more chance by being on the faster job, the newest job, yeah?
I would say that, always, because there's also the issue of job offers being there for months and without any reason. People don't know, like, for example, there are the jobs that you already applied for, but they are still out there and you're still waiting for your feedback, and it's been months. So, like, what does that mean? Is it close, or they are still waiting for more people? It makes you also wonder, like, what's going on, because you were there already and they are still looking,
But, okay, because I agree in all this, right? But is it true that when, as a candidate, you actually get hired, you instantly don't care about all of that stuff anymore? So what I mean is, you're on the market, you're waiting for 5 feedbacks, they didn't get back to you, you're so frustrated, everything, and someone offers you a job. I don't care about that feedback anymore. I got my job. I'm leaving
feedback,
it. I'm leaving it behind. Like, is it temporary frustration or genuine?
For me, it's temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's the same for recruiters.
Because,
It's painful. Oh, I found my recruiter.
It's like,
forget.
I think, the moment you get hired, the excitement is so big that you don't have time also to think about the different processes, because now you need to start thinking of how to really prepare for the job and how to be your best self in the job.
Yeah.
So you don't really care about the issues with the other companies, because you won't work for them. And at this point of time.
And I think that is also what fuels the problem on both sides, is that we deep down think it's temporary. Oh, they're mad now, but they're just mad because of this. Like, they, I can't make them feel better, but when they get a job, they will forget all about it. Yeah. It's the same, even being a manager. If you have to let an employee go, they can be really frustrated, but when they get the new job, suddenly they will message you, oh, Mick, by the way, it was great to work with you a year ago. Like, everything feels very over-emotional in a short period of time.
I think it's, in general, what emotions are. They are all strong, and you can feel them strong, but they are all temporary. Like, you won't feel as bad as you feel right now for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And the same things go with happiness, excitement,
This will be hard to have perspective on. From your guests and maybe from your friends and people you know, how much blame or how much responsibility do you feel that job seekers are putting on themselves? Because sometimes it feels like they really think it's 100% not their fault, and it's the system. Do you think that, like, is that the consensus you get, or is it a little bit more like, yeah, I know I need to be better, or is it like, they are all horrible, it's all their fault, it's not fair, the system's not fair? Because it feels that way.
Like, from my bubble, I can say, like, people are, like, they are aware of their bad sides, and they know that the issue is kind of on their side too. But from the perspective, like wider perspective, I see that many people just blame the recruiter, the companies, etc. Like they don't blame
The market,
themselves.
AI.
But you know, I think it's natural because it's easier for people to blame others than themselves. And I think, you know, that recruiters can do it as well, you know, that blaming it all on those mass recruitments, fake recruitments, etc., etc. But like, but what have you done as a recruiter to really change that, you know? So I would say that, this is how it works, that usually people blame others and don't really look in themselves for issues, especially if you don't get maybe the feedback can be make you question more about yourself. But if you don't get the feedback, for example, you get ghosted without any information, then you are just like, okay, how is it my fault, you know?
I'll ask you a question that I ask my guests, okay?
Okay.
Would you prefer to be a job seeker today or 3 years ago?
But are we saying that we have no job right now? We are unemployed and we are job seekers, or we have a job but we are job seekers? Because there's a whole other difference.
Yeah.
Unemployed. Which situation would you prefer to find yourself in as a candidate? 3 years ago or today?
I think 3 years ago.
Same.
Can you tell why?
Because 3 years ago, you can go to some IT course and you have a job.
Okay.
In IT, like it was, one course, okay, you have a job.
Okay.
But then if you don't develop yourself, like you lose this job because many people are on the market. But I think 3 years ago, the market was more on the candidate side.
I would say that also like 3 years ago, you had more opportunities to have like the rare skills. For example, from my side, you know, I speak Spanish as well. And I would say that in the market 3 years ago, it was much more valuable thing to have rather than it is today. Because now you have all the translators, AI, etc., etc. So it's not that big of a deal that it used to be. So I would say that, you know, with AI, you have less skills that you can show off because a lot of that skills right now are in AI. So companies don't look for them because they know they will have them in AI.
Like in my perspective as a videographer, graphic designer, right now, on the junior level, people like just, AI will make it for me.
Yeah.
Like it is like this. But 3 years ago, when AI wasn't that much developed, it was easier to find a job, I suppose, as a graphic designer / video editor, etc. Like the whole creative industry was easier to earn a job 3 years ago than today.
What if it was about, if just a slight tangent for the audience, what if it was like, what if you were unskilled at the time? What if you were like looking for any job 3 years versus today? What was the, like just any job to pay the bills, to get money in? Like what do you think? Because
I would say it's still 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the cost of living were cheaper. So any like basic job will be easier to live for.
Like the market wasn't that big because I know people right now. Poland has become a safe place for refugees from different places. So in general, they were less of a candidates in general than they are now because people come from different places, also looking for their safe lives here. And in the end of the day, it is a competition for you in the job market, you know.
But the interesting thing is statistically, unemployment is not higher in Poland than it was 3 years ago, right? So it's likely that there is enough jobs for the number of people. Because why am I asking this question? Because I think it's genuinely interesting that recruitment's got worse, and it makes me think, where will we be 3 years from now? How it will look. But what I'm trying to dig down is I'm wondering why we've suddenly gone for applying for three times more jobs as a candidate is the solution, when the people I talked to didn't say that it was the problem. So we solved a problem that possibly wasn't there. So, because I was really, and your answer is what I believe in, and what I'm thinking about is, why isn't someone saying, well, oh, now it's better because I can apply for 1,000 jobs, so I get more chance of getting a job. But every single person I ask tend to come out with that, yeah, it was better before. As a candidate, as a hiring manager, it was better before. So somehow we've altered the system and made it worse. And I'm not quite sure why we changed it. What was the problem then?
But like from your perspective as a hiring manager, was it easier for you to hire people 3 years ago than it is now?
Yeah, so this is the thing. Like for me, yes, but because now is worse, but candidates made it worse. And what I mean by that is that 3 years ago, I could verify people's skills by asking them to do a test or asking them to do a task, or I could really easily kind of not get down to that group of 5 people who actually have the right chance and give them all of my time. And now every task is perfect. Every application, every CV is perfect. And it turned out that people are changing the CV to apply to get more interviews. People are doing the task with AI, and then at the interview, we're finding out that they actually didn't know what. But that's why I'm saying. Like the funny thing is in normal life, in normal world, something getting worse for me should mean that it's getting better for the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, now I don't have to do those tasks by myself. AI is doing them. It's great. I'm getting all these interviews, but somehow candidates are saying, yeah, I don't like it. It's like, why did we break it? Why did we make it worse? Yeah. And don't be wrong. Like this is now, again, chicken and egg. And I'm wondering myself, like, yeah, is a candidate that uses AI to apply for jobs mad that a company uses AI to qualify candidates? Because you can't have your cake and eat it. Like you're either pro AI or you're not, in my opinion. But I see a lot of people are not seeing this as the same thing. Yeah. And I think it is this misconception. And again, one thing that I think nobody's thinking about in recruitment, even on the recruiter side sometimes, is money. It costs you money to recruit. If you want to have an extra person to do psychological safety rejections, if you want to have more people to humanly verify CVs because we deserve that, even though we're making them with AI ourselves, it costs money for the same outcome. Yeah, so we can't, I only sympathize with companies around the fact that they can't spend more to get the same outcome. So we have to find a different way of doing it that doesn't cost money. And that's sometimes when I talk to candidates, like, how would you do it differently if you couldn't spend any more money? Like, don't know. And because that's the chicken part of the chicken and egg story, let's say. But yeah, I also think from a hiring manager perspective, it's worse now because, as I said, triple the amount of volume, way less tools available now to sift through who is good or not, who is right or wrong, because AI has made everything perfect for people who use it. Yeah. Even statistically, and I see this now a lot, like basically companies are now having 4 times the amount of interviews that they used to have per role, because it's now the only way you can verify. We've gone back to the Stone Age of we have to meet in person now again, which means more input, more time for the candidate, more time for the recruiter, and yeah, so it's worse for me. I just still find it hard to understand
why we changed that.
If it got worse for everybody, why did we do it? Let's say
I would say that it wasn't just only people involved doing it. It was the world it saves that changed AI changed everything. And I understand that hiring managers now have the issue of that all the tasks are done and CVs are prepared with AI. But at the end of the day, when I come join your work, you will tell me, oh, use AI to do it. So
absolutely,
there is all this rabbit hole of AI and processes and being real or using AI for everything. But I would say that more of if the process changed, if people changed, I would say that the world we live in changed, and that what made it all kind of worse.
What's the what would you say is like your conclusion from the candidates that you've met, you've talked to? Like overall, a very hard thing, if you had to summarize the episodes into one statement each, what's the overall feeling or the overall like market right now for candidates? How they feel, what they like, what they don't like? Like, are they ultimately scared? Are they ultimately excited? What's the vibe?
After our guests, I definitely won't say that they are scared.
Yeah.
Like our guests, like mainly they're happy about how it worked for them right now.
Yeah.
And they have their own vision, then their own career path that they want to walk through. So for them, it works really well, I can say.
I
right
say
now.
that, maybe they were scared and there were moments that they were scared, but they had the courage to do things even though they were scared. And I would say that a lot of them was also ready to fake it till they make it.
Yes.
Okay.
That they were there to play the confident until they became confident. So it's the big part, I would say, is the personality of the people that we talked to. That in the end of the day, they, even though the market or the situation wasn't the perfect one, they one day decided to switch something in themselves or in the way they do things that ultimately like put them in the place they are happy right now.
And who are you? Who did you make the podcast for? Like, who are you trying to help with this content? What was the vision behind like starting the podcast?
To show to come back to the previous question and then ask for that.
Yeah.
I think our perspective could change if we invite, or some of you want to take part in our podcast that they don't have a job. Like if we have the unemployment guest.
Because you've got a lot of stories that ended in success.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm curious about how our perception of this topic will change if we had on this chair someone unemployed. And the second question was for
who is it for? Yeah.
I think for these unemployed people.
Yeah.
But not only. I think in one sentence, this is for people who don't want to feel alone with their thinking about the job market, and the whole recruitment process.
I would say that, we try to talk to people that have really been there. And that, don't have those perfect stories of, oh, my parents were rich and when I was 20, I got this idea and I invented this and right now I'm a billionaire. But we talk to people that have, really struggled, or they had to do something more to get where they wanted. So in general, to make others feel that they are not alone in their life and in their story, and that even though maybe online you see someone who is like, oh, this person has an amazing career, maybe to show that, okay, that's the one part of it, but to get there, they had to sacrifice this and this and that. For example, Ada, she told us that, of course, she became that director of marketing really young, but it really meant for her that during those years, there was no work-life balance. She only did work.
Yeah.
So, to also give people the real view of how things work, that you just cannot expect your life to work out for you, that each and every success story, not a success story, whatever you call it, there are the down and upsides of each story, both sides. So to that, people who are watching and listening, they know that maybe right now they're in a really bad position, but it does not mean that it will stay like that forever,
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a really valuable content, and I think it's really valuable because, again, I think that, coming back to the topic before, like, what's the perception? I do tend to think that when people are like so upfront with the system is not fair, it's not my fault, it's 100%. Sadly, my experience with psychology in people, that means that, but when they're alone at night, they actually think the opposite way altogether. That actually, what am I doing wrong? It's me. Yeah. So we have this, like, if they were more open in normal terms, they would probably be more calm. But I think that's the key. But again, like, what can I say? Like, one of the things that I've asked all my hiring managers, and we laugh about this, sadly, in a way, that to remind candidates that they want to hire someone. They want it to be you. Nobody has an interview hoping this person will be bad. So, like, we can feel that way as candidates, yeah, that, they were really mean. No, we want this recruitment process to be over as quickly as possible. And I also ask if you could open a recruitment and have one candidate, but it be the one you wanted to hire, would it be cool? Everyone said yes. One is enough. We don't want 10, we don't want 50, we don't want 100. We want one of one. And that's not for all people. That's the kind of people I had on my podcast. But the fact is like, for candidates, like, you have every opportunity. Like, if you are in a recruitment process and you get to the interview stage, it means that company sees a potential that you are the person for them. What you've got to do, sadly, which is really hard for some people who are unemployed, you've got to treat that like it's your only interview, that it was your first interview. You've got to have that fresh energy, and you've got to show that person and make, as the recruiter said, try to make the decision easy for them. They want to choose you. You've got to give them reasons to choose you. But the other thing as well is, like, again, my history is sales. And I was very lucky to have sales in my background, because I was taught very early that, but back when I was doing sales, especially cold calling, to get one yes, you had to get 99 no's.
Yeah.
And not only that, you had to be happy about the 99 no's, because it led to the one yes. And the good news is for all candidates, you only need one person to say yes. It might be the next one. So try to not bundle it together and be like, this is awful. This is the amount of salespeople who said, like, Mick, no one wants to buy. But how many people you talk to? 12. Okay. You got to keep going. Yeah. So
I would
like,
say that also, this is what our podcast showed, that even though in general candidates say, it's all recruiters' fault, blah, 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 they are horrible. In the end of the day, what worked for the people that we introduced was the change they made.
They took control. Yeah.
They took the control of the process. They took control of what they are saying, how they are presenting. So I think it needs more self-reflection on both sides.
Yeah, I agree.
That less focus on what the other part is doing wrong, and maybe more about what we can do better.
Yes, because to answer the first question of the podcast.
Okay.
Who's wrong?
Yeah.
I think there's no wrong side in the recruitment phase. I think there's no chance to agree that one part of the recruitment phase is wrong and second one is good. Mm-hmm. Because there's a bad side and a good side in every people, especially if we're talking about one person, because every person is different. So I think it's going to be hard to decide whose fault is that the recruitment phase is.
We can just all blame AI.
And yeah, I mean, one of my guests said actually that we have to the one good thing about the recruitment now versus 3 years ago is the wealth of knowledge and data at our proposal. So now, if you're going to an interview and you want to research the role in the company before you start, that's where technology is going to be your friend. Mm-hmm. Oh, this happened, by the way, this company, they won an award 6 weeks ago for there are positives out there. There are some things now for candidates and recruiters that are so much easier than they were before because of technological advances. But I think we have to, if we can remind ourselves that both sides are looking to win, both sides are looking for a good match. No one is starting this process trying to screw someone else over. It might just give our viewers from both recruiter and that little bit of an energy boost for that interview they have tomorrow. So, okay, I need to go. And the tips that my guest gave, go for a walk beforehand. Make sure you clear like 2 hours before your interview, not 10 minutes, because you might just have a really bad experience before you walk in. Like just a little bit of prep, slow down maybe would be my, and that's really hard to say because some people are worried about paying the bills, but slowing down 10%. And now the good news is slowly data is starting to prove this point. Because I did a presentation recently about this where it actually shows, even though the number is still crazy for me, that candidates that have taken part in over 80 recruitment processes lower their chances of getting hired. So as soon as you've applied for more than 80 jobs, your chances of being hired decrease quite substantially, by the way. Now, I actually thought that number would be even lower. I thought after 30, 40, 50, because I can't imagine imagine as a candidate, your phone rings and they go, oh, hi, yeah, it's from the job you applied for. And when you don't know who's talking to you, you're already lowering your chances of that call being a success, right? So, but still, the data is slowly starting to show that volume is not that. And just so you know, candidates, like even from the recruiter standpoint right now, companies are starting to have new limits. So as soon as 50 people apply for a job, they're closing the door. So they're going to start to protect themselves from volume to try to give better experience to the people that apply. So hopefully we'll see some positive changes from the recruitment side as well. And then everyone can get back to just being good to each other. Like the good old days. So yes.
And you, Mick, ask us one question that you're always asking your guests about. So we also want to ask you a question that we ask our guests always. So if money wasn't a factor, what would you do?
As a hiring manager?
No, like...
in general?
In general.
In general.
Money isn't a thing. You can live without money. What would you do?
I would love to work in the garden section of Obi. I just want to be outside in a job that means that you can go slow, offer people advice. I mean, maybe not Obi, maybe in English speaking countries, so I could really talk to people. But I would love to be in that kind of, you see those people in those stores.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're, not to stereotype, but sometimes they're in their 50s or in their 60s, and they're just happy to talk to you. You see they're in a good place, and I was like, one day that would be me. So no, I think when I was a kid, I used to want to be a truck driver. But that changed pretty quickly. But no, I would love to work in that kind of environment where
Garden shop.
You help people who ask for help, and you're just there for them, that kind of thing. So outdoor, a little bit manual, a little bit handsy, that kind of stuff would be great.
Perfect. So I think we can end this episode with that perfect answer, I can say. The first time that somebody answered in this kind of job, I can say.
Obi, if you're watching, I'm ready.
We're giving away Mick, if you want him.
Just an example. Kwiatki, prawo. No, drewno, lewo. Yeah, I can do this. I could do this. So
as I said, his Polish is definitely better than he claims it is.
So I think we can end with Polish to close up the gap.
Yeah.
Więc moi drodzy, dziękujemy bardzo za oglądanie tego kolejnego odcinka podcastu Na Etacie. Mamy nadzieję, że angielski wam nie przeszkadzał, zwłaszcza nasz angielski wam nie przeszkadzał w odsłuchaniu tego odcinka. Wam życzymy miłego tygodnia pracy lub szukania pracy i słyszymy się w kolejny poniedziałek o 12:00. Dziękuję bardzo, pa.
Dziękuję, do widzenia. Dziękuję.
Pa.